This is something I've been holding inside for a while and need to get off my chest. My husband, 36, and I, also 36, have been together for 16 years and married for 14. We have 2 daughters, aged 13 and 12. About 3 months ago, I cheated on him with my co-worker. It happened only once, but I immediately regretted it. To be honest, I still haven't figured out the real reason I cheated. On the surface, it might seem like it was because my husband was preoccupied with work for a few months, and I felt neglected and unappreciated. But deep down, I know that's not the true reason. I'm trying to uncover the root cause through individual counseling. I only cheated that one time and confessed to him the very next day because I couldn't bear the guilt and shame. He was shocked and called me horrible names. I deserved it. I deserve much worse. I don't even know how I allowed things to reach that point. What started as innocent flirting quickly spiraled out of control, and before I realized it, I had made the worst mistake of my life. I wish something, anything, had stopped me that day before it happened. Afterward, I cut off all contact with my co-worker and gave my husband my phone to reassure him. I wanted to show that I was willing to make things work on his terms, no matter what they were, as long as he would give me another chance. Deep down, I knew I wanted to prove myself to him, but I also told him I would understand if he decided to proceed with a divorce. I promised to do anything to regain his trust and express my deep regret for hurting him so badly. My husband has always been someone who gives only one chance. Once trust is broken, he doesn't give second chances, not even in friendships. At first, he told me he wanted a divorce. But then the quarantine happened, and he stayed in the house for about 2 months without initiating the divorce process. During the first month, he treated me very coldly. We only spoke when it concerned our daughters. I slept on the couch and tried to give him as much space as he needed. From time to time, I reminded him that I was willing to work things out if he ever wanted to try. During that time, he said some spiteful things and kept his distance from me entirely. But in the second month, things began to change. He started talking to me again. We had conversations about everyday things and even watched movies together as a family with our daughters. I felt hopeful that he was considering reconciliation, and I was overjoyed at the possibility of saving our family. Slowly, it felt like we were becoming friends again. Eventually, he invited me back to sleep in the bed with him. I truly believed we were making progress. As the days went by, we grew closer and spent more time together as a family. I felt good about the direction we were heading. However, I regret not suggesting marriage counseling during this time. I didn't want to pressure him or make him feel like I was trying to sweep everything under the rug. One night, we were drinking and talking in our bedroom. It felt like we were reconnecting, like we were falling in love all over again. I was so happy in that moment, feeling a genuine connection between us. Then, I made a mistake. I straddled him while we were laughing at a joke, and everything felt so natural. We started kissing, and it reminded me of when we were younger, like we were 20 again. But then he suddenly began to cry. He asked me to stop and said he couldn't do this. I felt terrible, seeing how much pain I had caused him. I apologized, and we went to sleep. Looking back, I regret that moment deeply. I think it might have pushed him away forever. 2 days later, he told me he wanted to proceed with the divorce. He said he didn't think he could make it work, even after trying for 2 months. I wanted to argue and fight for our marriage, but instead, I told him that I understood we had already decided if a divorce was inevitable. It would be on fair terms. Sure, we both had lawyers, but we had agreed on a lot of things together. He mentioned wanting to take a 2-week trip, and when he returned, he'd pick up the girls. We mutually decided to split the time with them, half the week with him and the other half with me. I even helped him pack up his belongings. But when we finished, I broke down and cried. We hugged, and though it was comforting, it felt like goodbye. After his trip, he came back. While it was good to see him again, I knew things would never be the same. He smiled, we exchanged small talk, and then he took the girls. We've both always been devoted parents, wanting what's best for our kids. But today, I was served the divorce papers. It hurts more than I can put into words. Knowing I lost my best friend because of my own mistakes is unbearable. Some mornings, I roll over to his side of the bed and hate the emptiness there. I miss his smell, his smile, his voice, and the way his laughter filled every corner of the room. What hurts the most is knowing how deeply I hurt the person I love more than anything. If I could turn back time, I'd undo everything. But I can't. All I can do is write this, crying, wishing I could show him the depth of my regret and the love I still have for him. I want to prove I'd be the most devoted wife if he'd give me another chance. But I know I've lost him. Forever. 3 years ago, my 43-year-old ex-wife, now 42, left me and our 3 kids. She had been planning to cheat on me. I noticed the signs and eventually caught her sexting with another man. She confessed she felt like our life wasn't what she wanted. We divorced, and she left to be with him. I was granted the house and sole custody of the kids. Our children, our 15-year-old son and 12-year-old twins, a boy and a girl, felt abandoned. They were vocal about not wanting to see her, and she didn't make much effort to stay in their lives. Over time, the kids started doing better, but I could see they missed their mom, especially my younger son. Since then, I've seen my ex-wife only a handful of times. I've moved on in the sense that I've had relationships with other women, but I've avoided anything serious. My focus has been on raising the kids. Recently, I learned her life has taken a downward turn. The man she left me for is now a bankrupt, abusive alcoholic. She left him and moved back in with her parents. This weekend, she came over while the kids were at my brother's cottage. She pleaded with me to take her back, saying she'd made a mistake. She told me she'd lost everything, her savings, the divorce settlement, and her relationship with the kids. She wants to work toward reconciling and rebuilding our family. I listened, but I didn't say much. She left, and now my mind is spinning. On one hand, I miss her. I think the kids, with time, might welcome having their mom back. But I also question her motives. Is she only returning because her life fell apart? Even if I let her back into my life, I wouldn't marry her again immediately. There'd be a prenuptial agreement this time. I'd want her to stay with her parents and slowly reintegrate into my and the kids' lives. Yet, part of me struggles with seeing her as a woman I once loved. I question whether I can truly forgive her. Therapy, both couples and family, is likely necessary if this is to work. There are so many unknowns. If she leaves again, it could devastate the kids and me all over again. I'm here seeking an outsider's perspective. This is the TLDR. My wife brought another woman into our lives under the pretense of polyamory. When I couldn't handle it, she chose the other person over me. This all unfolded within a month, and now she's living in our house with her new partner while I've moved out. I still deeply love her, but I feel like she hasn't fully processed what's happened because of the new relationship. I'm left trying to make sense of how quickly everything fell apart. For 8 years, she was my best friend, my partner, and the person I planned a future with, kids, a home, everything. Now, all I have are memories of what we talked about and the pain of watching it all slip away.